G5 jet. I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
Welcome back, eSIMstudios YouTube live stream on this Saturday, June the 20th, 2026. Hope everybody's had a wonderful week as we get the weekend started. I do appreciate everybody for joining us today. We're going to have a good show here, and we'll do a giveaway if we got a decent amount of people in. I was going to do one yesterday, but I am actually starting a new app and a new kind of app, and time got carried away yesterday, so we are back live today, a little earlier than we typically stream, but it's no big deal. How's everybody doing today? Let me see. Appreciate everybody for joining today. Oh yeah, definitely. Did you get a phone 3? Did you find one at a good price? Let's go. Price increases, yes. Boy, oh boy, that's going to be the topic of the show today. That's going to be the topic of the show. So we got price increases incoming for Apple, affecting Samsung, nothing CMF. Essentially, the entire tech world is reeling from these price increases, particularly due to the memory shortage, due to AI. You can thank AI for all of this. Increasing prices across the board. So I know, well, we're going to discuss this in length. They obviously did launch the 4A and 4A Pro, but those were already planned. As you know, these companies, not just nothing, Samsung, Apple, they plan these phones. They have roadmaps where they essentially plan everything out for the next 2, 3, 5, sometimes 10 years in advance. These phones take a few years just to get up and running. And I think nothing already had that 4A and 4A Pro planned to come out. When did it come out? In March? April, May? No, it came out in May, I believe. Anyways, doesn't matter. They had already planned this launch date somewhere in, the first quarter, second quarter of 2026 for the last 2 years, or at least 1 year. So that was already planned. But as they are rolling into a phone 4, right? This memory prices cuts into their profits and essentially makes them rework everything. And if it's not feasible, the last thing they want to do, and especially if you're nothing, where they already took a hit, they're not a publicly traded company. Their numbers are not public, so we're not going to know for sure. But they already took a hit with the phone 3. And look, I'm not against buying a phone 3, but for what they launched it at, meaning for what you get and the price that they launched it at, I guarantee you they did not sell a lot of them. I mean, look, as I said, I'm not against getting one, but I'm only, if I can find one at a good price, I might get one, but not for, what was it, $6.99 or whatever it was. Hell no. Maybe it was $7.99. Shoot, I don't even remember, but I don't think they sold many of them. So I think they took a loss, or at the very best broke even on the phone 3. So you can't really, if you're a small company like nothing, you can't really afford to take many losses, because the revenue is incredibly important to small companies. And I say small, but they're big, but compared to my company, but they're small compared to Apple. They're small, minuscule compared to Samsung. So it's just, if it's not feasible, meaning if they don't think they're going to make a profit, then don't put it out, right? They have other products. They don't just sell phones. They have other products, earbuds. They make fantastic audio products. So yeah, you paid $392. That's about what I would be satisfied paying. That's a good deal. In fact, I think I would pull the trigger on that as well. Quite honestly, that's a ride. I was gonna say no more than $400, and I would strongly consider getting it. Right. The new Microsoft laptop jumped to 600. Microsoft is expensive. Is that one of their Surface laptops? They're typically a little more expensive than other companies. Apple's probably the best protected against pricing increases, but will still increase prices because they can. They easily make the most profit per product sold. Yeah, and it's interesting. Maybe we'll get in. You got it on eBay? That's a good deal. Maybe we'll get into Apple typically goes, because if you subscribe to the Nothing YouTube channel, Carl Pei put out a video maybe 2 years ago, or Nothing did, where he was saying Apple's business model, what they do is they typically double the price, or let's flip it back or reverse it. So essentially, if they're going to charge, let's just say an even number, $1,000 for a phone, they don't want to spend more than $500 for that device constructing it, meaning parts, labor, and they also implement marketing into each device. So typically Apple will double the price of the cost of making a device. So if it costs them $500 to make that $1,000 phone, they're going to charge $1,000 for it. If it costs them $600 to construct a phone per phone, then they'll charge $1,200 for it. You see what I'm saying? Or if it's their base iPhone 17, that's like $800. That means it was typically $400 to construct that phone. They always double what it costs them. So they're getting double back on their return on what it cost them, right? So let's get into it actually. So I need to load, and I have some quotes here. Give me 1 second. I have some quotes from Mr. Carl Pei himself. Let me see if I got so many. I just jumped on live here. I might not be able to find him. In fact, I might have taken it on my Motorola signature, because I wanted to show you his quote. But Carl Pei put out on Twitter a little article, right? He put out an article and essentially was discussing how expensive it is to construct these phones. Let me see here. Did I have it on this? Screenshots. I don't, but I have what he said in a nutshell. I summarized what he said here. Let's see here. What's going on, Bradley? Hope you're having a great day, everyone. Just saying hello from work. I will catch it later tonight. Awesome, man. Be safe. Hopefully you get off. I know not everybody likes to work on Saturday. Hopefully you get off sooner than expected, but please be safe out there. And yeah, just catch the show later. We're going to discuss some industry, some business talk, because this affects everybody. Even if you're not planning on buying an iPhone, even if you're not planning on buying a Nothing phone, maybe you're planning on buying a Samsung. Well, guess what? Prices are going to go up. So let's go ahead and do this. Let me load some photos here, because we have new visuals of the new iPhone Ultra that we're going to get into. And let me load these files here. Let's see here. I'm using my different computer here. The last 2 weeks of live streams, I was using my laptop, and now I got my mini PC to power on. So let's see here. I'm using a different computer, but I just loaded them before the stream, so I know I got them here. We're going to go over CMF. We're going to go over Nothing. We're going to go over what Carl Pei said. We're going to go over some pricing here. There we go. All right, so man, I guess I shouldn't have used Samsung Flow. Have y'all used Samsung Flow before? All right. Well then. Oh, duh. I needed to select all files. I had it on PNG. Okay, so here we go. Let me upload this iPhone Ultra image. Invalid file type. Oh my god. Alright, well, screw it. I don't want to waste your time. I'll just find it online. Let me pull up my notes here so we can discuss here. No, I'll show you. I'll find it online. Hang on. So iPhone, let me pull it up. iPhone Ultra leaks. Here we go. Let me share my screen. Sorry about that. Let's see. Okay. Can y'all see that? So we don't know if they're going to launch. We first got word that they were going to launch 2 colors. Now, if you remember that story from last week, they might just launch 1 color. It appears they're having some manufacturing issues, and they're just going to launch the white color at first. And then a few months after the launch of the iPhone Ultra, which is the new iPhone Fold, they're going to launch the space black. Now, the new iPhone Ultra, the new iPhone Fold, is the device on the right, the 4.5 millimeter device. It's going to be freaking thin. And I think the phone on the left is the iPhone Air. So this is going to be pretty freaking thin. And there you get a good look at the black one. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of going back and forth on the design. I mean, I'm certainly not going to get one, but is it ugly? I don't know. But apparently that's what we got here. 2 cameras and a wide angle and an ultra wide, no telephoto. That's what the operating system is going to look like when it's open. So you can see it sort of has iPad like modified iOS operating system. Should be optimized for multitasking. You see in a picture, if you've seen iOS, you've seen it all. Now, it does give us an up-close look. Kind of, it almost resembles an iPad, quite honestly, that you can just fold in half. Now, the Z Fold 7, for comparison, was 4.2 millimeters thick when unfolded. So this 4.5, and look, what's 0.3 millimeters of a difference? Essentially nothing. So if you've held the Fold 7 in your hand, it's going to be pretty freaking similar. And it's actually, for as much shit as I give them, and I've been ragging on Samsung lately, it's an engineering marvel that they can cram all this into a device that's only 4.5 millimeters thick for Apple, and even thinner if you're Samsung. But it's impressive engineering. It's just not a device I'm going to buy, because it's essentially going to start out at $2,000. Don't know if it's going to be $19.99 or $20.99. It's probably going to be $19.99, but that's going to be their base. I don't know, 12 gig of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, I'm assuming. And I'm sure the 2 terabyte model is going to be probably pretty freaking expensive. I don't know, $3,000. I mean, you saw the trifold. People are going to buy it. As crazy as it sounds, they will get away with selling a $3,000 foldable. Now, moving into the topic of the show, I kind of wanted to show these new, look, not super impressive. It's not earth-shattering, groundbreaking leaks, but rolls us into the topic of the show. And we're going to, with each couple of with the next few stories, they're all going to have have a certain theme, and that's going to be prices going up. So we have news that Apple is going to raise the prices of their iPhones. Now, remember, this upcoming iPhone 18 launch is going to be a split launch. So the 18 Pro, 18 Pro Max, and iPhone Ultra are going to be launched in September, and then they're going to do the 18 and 18. They're going to do the 18 Plus and or Air in this time next year. I think maybe in May, something like that, 6 months after September. So Apple's going to split their Pro and base models 6 months apart and have a launch every 6 months. Pro, regular, Pro, regular, Pro, regular. And we got word that Apple is raising the cost. And it goes back to the beginning of the show. Well, why are they raising the cost? Well, Apple likes to keep that same sales point and a manufacturing strategy, where if it costs them $500 to construct a device, they're going to ask $1,000 manufacturer suggested retail price, MSRP. They like to double their cost. So get this, the price of the base iPhone 18 Pro, not the Pro Max, not the Ultra, obviously, the base model, base storage model, which is going to be 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, is going to be $1,399. $1,400. So we're not talking bumping it up from $1,000 to $1,100, which would be a $100 increase. No, we're not talking about that. That would be a minimal increase. We're talking an increase of $400 over last year's previous model. And that's across the board. And well, knowing Apple, that price increase is going to go up even more with each better model. With each higher storage variant is probably going to go up even higher, because you know why? Memory costs more. And if it costs Apple more, it's definitely going to be costing you more if you're interested in buying one of these devices. Now, if you get yours at a carrier, remember, this is the base model, $1,399. That's going to take your, actually, what is that per month? So that's going to take your monthly cost. Let's just say you go to a T-Mobile and you get yours on a plan. Well, a lot of times now they're going to do, get, of course, see, for the carriers, I don't know what they're going to do, because in the past, when a device was $1,000, like the previous iPhone 17 Pro, they would give you, the retail price would be $1,000, right? And like T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon would have these deals where, especially T-Mobile, where if you trade in any device in any condition get $1,000 credit towards the iPhone 17 Pro, and that would essentially cancel the cost of the phone. They would just credit you if it was $32 per month, they would credit you $32 a month, so it would zero out on your bill. Are they going to give you? Is T-Mobile going to give you $1,400 off the cost of an iPhone 18 Pro? Again, and that's the base model. What if you want to get a 512? It's going to be $1,599. Is T-Mobile going to say, hey, $1,500 off, $1,599 off the iPhone 18 Pro, 512 gig with a trade-in of any device in any condition? Because then, see, that puts strain on T-Mobile, because T-Mobile has to eat that cost as well. And what does that mean for the mobile network subscribers of T-Mobile? Well, if T-Mobile has to eat that cost, meaning if they have to take a loss handing out these iPhones for trade-ins for shitty phones, guess what? They don't want to take that loss. So what are they going to do to their paying consumer, their monthly paying consumer? They're going to raise the price on you and me to offset that loss that they're taking from handing out all these iPhones. So it always comes back on the consumer. Trust me, if you're a publicly traded company, it's all about the numbers. It's all about your revenue. It's all about price per share. It's all about, can you hit your quarterly expectations? They don't want to miss. They don't want to take a loss, because it'll come back to them in the long run. So we are always the people that end up getting screwed in the end. So you can see how the trickle-down effect always comes back down to us. And that may not affect you directly. What if you say, well, I don't want to buy an iPhone. What do I care? Okay, so what if you want to get a Samsung? What if you want to upgrade in November and you want to get the newest, S26 Ultra, right? Well, they're not just going to raise the cost and raise the prices for those of y'all that have an iPhone. No, it's going to go to everybody. Whether you have an iPhone, an Android, whether you have a hotspot, whether you have home internet service, everybody. So you can see how the trickle-down effect really hits us in the pocket, hits us hard. So we're the ones that have to suffer here. But let's see. So roughly $1,000 a month. How many months does T-Mobile do it by? Is it 2 or 3 years? 24 months or 36 months? I can't remember. So 1,000 divided by 24 would be $41 a month. 1,000 divided by 36 months would be $27 a month. So what is $1,400 divided by 24 months is $58. So it jumps up from $41 to $58 per month. That's a huge increase. Wow. And that's just for the base model. What if you want a 512 gig, huh? You're going to be paying, who knows, $1,600. I mean, this is getting crazy. Now, this is bad news, not just for Apple people, because we all know Samsung loves to copy Apple. The only reason why Samsung did not increase the price of their S26 series model this year is because Apple didn't raise prices on their iPhones this year. Oh, Apple's not raising prices. We can't raise our prices. They love to copy Apple. Essentially, seems like everything that they do, even when it comes to pricing. And now, guess what? Now this gives Samsung the okay to raise prices on the very next Galaxy. Now, we knew this was kind of happening. We just got word that Apple was going to raise prices here I think, Thursday or Friday, that news leaked. But now it's essentially given Samsung's going to raise their prices. Now, I don't think it's going to be by $400. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it will be. Carl Pei did say, which we're going to get to his quote here in a minute. He said price for RAM, for the memory, is now the single most expensive component in the phone. It's so expensive, in fact, that it's even more expensive than the CPU and the display combined. So that just goes to show you how insane these prices are getting. It's getting so expensive, in fact, just in the entire industry, that a lot of these memory makers, you remember DDR4 RAM? Well, guess what? A lot of these memory companies are ramping up LPDDR4 RAM again, and we moved past that years ago. Well, guess what? People would rather have LPDDR4 RAM than no RAM. So this is a major issue. Again, do you remember that story? Oppo said, or there was that story, they didn't say this, but there's a story out that says a lot of the Chinese manufacturers might skip their ultra class phones this upcoming year because it is too expensive. Remember, they're putting ultra components, the most expensive components, in those devices. The price would be too astronomically high. They would outprice themselves, meaning, okay, so the Oppo Find X9 Ultra is essentially $1,400. Well, guess what? What if just to make a profit, they would have to price it around $2,400? Who's going to buy a $2,400 phone? Now, of course, a couple people will, but that eliminates 95% of their customer base, meaning they just can't sell enough phones. Like Oppo, for example, on the X10 Ultra, if it was priced at $2,400, $1,000 price increase, they don't think they will be able to sell enough phones to make a profit. And that story was saying they're just going to skip making their ultra class phones next year because nobody's going to buy them. They won't make a profit. What's the point of manufacturing it if you're going to take a loss on it? It just doesn't make sense, literally and figuratively. So we're in a very, very bad spot in the tech world. And what's going on, brother? Appreciate you joining us today. We're in a very, very bad position in the tech world. And honestly, my opinion to people out there, if you're and I've said this a few months ago, if you need a new computer, if you need a new laptop, hell, even if you need a new phone, it's best to buy one right now. Because the longer you wait, the worse it's going to be, meaning the more expensive it's going to get. Now, I believe this is the exact reason why the prices for used phones have not dropped. I honestly believe, have any of y'all noticed that? If you've been looking, because I search for used phones every single day, and if you've done any pricing on used phones, the prices have not dropped. Prices have not dropped. It's insane. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy because Apple now is going to be in a good position to compare to everyone else. The pricing of Apple will be more affordable than someone like Samsung. Yeah. And putting all of these stories together that I've done, that I've focused on this specifically over the last 6 months. Remember, Apple is hoarding memory. Apple went to TSMC, Apple went to Intel, Apple went to Samsung and bought mass quantities of memory for bulk pricing. And they did that 6 months ago. And since then, the prices have doubled since then. So Apple made a very, very strategic move to buy up as much memory as they can for their upcoming next couple of launches to save them money. And so they won't, for two reasons: to save them money and to put their competitors in a tough spot, because now their competitors can't buy memory. In the memory that is available, they're going to have to pay like quadruple the price. So y'all know I love to shit on Apple. Very, very, very strategic move from Apple. Yeah, it's insane. Do me a favor, go price, a used S25 Ultra. Go price a OnePlus 15. They're still $800, and it's almost been a year for the OnePlus 15. Well, it's been like 8 months. This time last year, you could find even a OnePlus 13. Those are still $600 or $700. When a year ago, a used OnePlus 12, moving into the 13 would be like $500, $450. They're not dropping, and it's directly because of this, because people are anticipating the prices of these new flagship phones being so astronomically high that they can't afford it. So people are holding on to this OnePlus 15, and they're just not going to upgrade for another year or two or three. See what I'm saying? They're holding on to these 6-month-old flagship phones, and they're just going to use that because the price of a brand new S27 Ultra is going to be insane. The price of the next Motorola Signature 2 probably going to be higher. The next iPhone, insane high price. So that's why these prices are not coming down. So it's interesting to see the market. I don't think anybody's ever seen it this way. They're starting at 16 gigs of RAM, if I remember reading correctly, because Apple Intelligence. Interesting. Okay. I stand corrected. Even more expensive. That's what that means. The upcoming iPhone foldable should just be called iPhone Fold. I know. iPhone Ultra should replace the Pro Max. I agree. I don't know why they do these stupid things. Y'all know, it always drives me crazy when Snapdragon is always changing their names of their flagship CPUs. Google changes the name, uses stupid names for colors. I'm like, just call it freaking white, black, blue. Why are they calling the iPhone Ultra iPhone Ultra? It's a foldable, right? iPhone Fold. Well, they don't want to copy Samsung. They have to do their own thing. Samsung, speaking of them, why are they changing the names of their foldables? Samsung's new Z Fold 8 is going to be called the Z Fold 8 Ultra. And their passport style foldable is going to be called the Z Fold 8. They're going to drop that Z Fold 8 wide name. It's just going to be Z Fold 8. I don't understand. Keep a name so people can't know exactly what that product is. It's easy to find, easy to search for. I think they outsmart themselves, quite honestly, on these name changes. They're outsmarting themselves. Like, they're overthinking this. Make it simple for the consumer to remember your product, because even me that has look, I certainly don't brag about my knowledge or intelligence, but even I, who have a above average memory in the tech world and intelligence, have a hard time remembering all this all this stuff. Even I get stumped up every now and then. I'm like, wait, what is it called? My hardest thing to remember is the Snapdragon ones. I'm like, wait, what? When did they change the name? And which one was that called? Got me looking dumb out here when they're the dumb ones. For European global models, T-Mobile is the best case scenario. AT&T and Verizon will probably give you headaches. I would go for T-Mobile only. Yeah, if you're going to be using any phone outside of America, you got to be using T-Mobile. I mean, it's not even a question. It's not even like, well, maybe I can get away with, how the OnePlus 16 is going to be China only next year. Well, what if you want to import it? What if they sell them on GiveTop? They probably will. What if you want to import it? Well, I don't suggest you use AT&T or Verizon, right? T-Mobile's the way to go. I saw somebody online saying they used... I was just bragging about my memory. Now I can't remember. Anyway, somebody was trying to use Mint Mobile with a phone that they imported. I was trying to remember exactly what phone it was, but it was an import phone. And they said Mint Mobile wouldn't work. So I think T-Mobile's the best way to go for sure. 2030. Yeah, I think you're right. Because you're right. It was 2030. I mean, we're talking billions and billions of dollars worth of memory. Very smart. And it takes a lot for me to acknowledge them doing something good. And hey, you got to take hats off to whoever finagled, whoever negotiated or came up with that strategy, you got to give them a raise or something, because whoever that team of people that came up with the strategy, hey, let's buy enough memory for the next 4 or 5 years. I'm sure at first people were like, what? Why would you do that? Well, hello. Next year, it's already doubled or quadrupled since they did this. Who's to say it's going to double and quadruple again? So this move will save them billions and billions of dollars. And remember, it puts their competition in a bad spot, because now they're scrambling. Oh my God, there's no memory for our new. Oh, what are we going to do? So it was a kill two birds with one stone type of scenario. So very, very smart move by Apple. Phenomenal. Now let's get into what I wanted to talk about, and I had to wear the shirt. So CMF started the show out with this, and look, the CMF, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The CMF phone, whether it's the phone 1 or phone 2 Pro, again, changing the names, I've always said that's in the budget segment. That's the best phone you can buy for the cheapest price, meaning that's the best spec phone for the least amount of money to spend, right? I'm talking about in the budget segment. I have video reviews of the phone 1 and the phone 2 Pro. Had both of those. I thought just for $200 freaking dollars, that's a badass phone. And I was looking forward to seeing CMF's new phone 3 Pro. And we got word, was it yesterday, that they're not going to launch a phone 3 Pro. We got word yesterday that Nothing, who is tied to CMF, has made the decision to not release. And I think the Nothing India division president made that announcement yesterday on Twitter that they're not going to be releasing a phone 3 Pro. And it just comes down to they're just not going to make a profit. It's going to cost them too much money to construct a CMF phone 3 Pro and still have it within that. I don't know, what were they going to charge? $250 for it? I think the very first one, the CMF phone 1, I think that was like $199. And I think the phone 2 Pro, I think was like $249, so it was an increase of $50. I was expecting this one to be $299, right? It's like kind of like OnePlus back in the day. It started out really low, and every year they increased it by $50 and $50 and $50. Well, at some point, it's you're going to be like, okay, you're getting out of that budget segment. When are you going to like level off? But I was expecting, look, probably have a little better specs, but they're just raising the cost to mitigate their rising costs. But it's still a good phone for $299, right? Once you get into 3 and creep up to 4, I'm looking at other phones, and they know that. They know the CMF phone is the best phone you could buy sub $300. Once you get past $300 and once you creep up to that $400, now you're creeping into the Nothing phone A series device, right? Because those are in the $400 range. They know they can't go up there because one of their own phones is in that segment. So you got to keep it, preferably around $300. Now, I saw CMF and or Nothing reply to somebody's comment saying if they constructed it, they would have to charge upwards of $400. Now, I did the calculations because they said if we did construct the CMF Phone 3 Pro and sell it, it would be upwards of 35,000 rupees, I think. And let's see how much that comes out to. How many rupees is 35,000 compared to US dollars? It's $371. So once you get up to that $400 range, and that's a big increase. That's an increase of roughly $80-$90. So they did $50, $50, and then all the way up to $90 increase. It's not. They know their customer, and they know that's unattainable, meaning they're not going to sell many because there's other options, far better options in that $400 range than a CMF Phone 3 Pro. So that's a big issue. Now, nothing obviously did not launch the Phone 4 because I want to say it wasn't ready. And that was the idea, the thought 6 to 8 months ago. But I think this memory and the cost, the rising cost in parts, I think has to play with not producing a Phone 4 series. Because remember when they, maybe 8 months ago, when they had that video and announced that there's no Phone 4. It's the 4A. The 4A Pro is our Phone 4 for this year. Well, we knew they were making this new operating system where it's going to be AI based. They said they were still working on it, but I think that was true. I don't think they were lying, but I think as time went on and we rolled into this memory crisis, it hit head on. The memory cost and them trying to design a cool operating system, they merged together, and the price it was just too unattainable. Now we have to be worried because it could put companies like Nothing in a bad spot. And like I said earlier, they do have other products they can sell, but no CMF phone, budget phone, no Nothing phone, flagship phone, and they only put out the A series because it was already planned and stuff was already put in motion. But I strongly believe there might not be a series next year. So what is Nothing going to do? Are they not going to sell phones for the next couple of years and just focus on ear products, audio products? Maybe. It has me worried. It should have everybody worried because this could eliminate one of your favorite phones. And at the very, very least, it's going to make your next phone much, much more expensive. So, man. It's not a good time to be in, and it's going to get worse. Like, it's not getting better. Remember, they think the memory rising costs can last into 2030, and that's just an estimate. That's not even saying, okay, everything's going to go back to normal in 2031. We don't know that. I mean, what if it lasts? What if it never comes down? Again, what if you think these companies want to go back to the price of their products from 2 years ago? Like, and that goes for everything, not just in tech. Look at lumber. The cost of constructing a home is insane, as a lot of industries. Now, do you think they're going to go back to their old prices? I don't think so. And I think we need to be concerned about items, just from toilet paper to bottles of water to cologne to cases for your phones. I'm just looking around here. Everything I'm looking at, well, I don't have toilet paper here, but but I have a paper towel. Paper towels, more expensive. So I just don't see the prices coming down. Like, why would they? Then these companies are going to lose more money, more revenue coming in if they lower the prices. And why would they do that again? Because remember, their costs are going up too. So I don't see. I don't know. I think what we're going to have to do, and I think this could be a paradigm shift in the industry, is I think these phone companies are going to have to do new flagship launches every 2 years at the very least. I think that's what we're going to see out of this. I honestly think making a flagship phone every year, it's just not obtainable. It's just not realistic at this point. And look, let's be honest. I think that would be okay, right? This signature, it's 6 months old. Like you telling me after in 6 more months when it hits a year, this thing is trash. Oh, get rid of it. No, it's gonna be a badass phone for the next few years. Um, so I think that's okay. It's gonna take a little while for us to get adjusted to, but I think the market does have to adjust. It does have to level out uh, for the manufacturer and the consumer. Right? They're not sending me these phones. I gotta buy all these. Shit is expensive. Like even for me. And it's expensive for these manufacturers to manufacture this. So I think we're gonna see a very interesting shift in the industry, something we've never ever seen before. Um, I think nothing's gonna go to 2-year launch schedule. Now, will they launch a budget phone? It's kind of like the Olympics, right? Are they going to launch the A series this year, and then are they going to launch a nothing phone 4 next year, and then the 5A the year after that, and then the nothing phone 5 year? Are they going to flip flop? So there potentially will be there will be a new device every year. It's just not going to be an A series every year. It's going to be every other year, but they overlap themselves. See what I'm saying? Could be that, right? So it's not like we're going to go 2 years with no nothing phone. Like, I think they can strategically do this to where it won't be, such of a shock to the consumer. Apple can do that. Put out well, shit, they're doing it this year. Well, they're doing it every 6 months. They're going to put out the Pro series and then the base series, but they could do Pro this year. I guess they're kind of doing that, overlapping it. Samsung has the products to do that, so we are going to get an S27 next year, but the year after that, like, Samsung's hurting for money, guys. Like, they're not doing good, and I'm talking about their electronics division, their mobile division, not the memory division. They're making hand over fist, but remember, it's a separate entity. Their memory division can't just say, "Oh, here's $2 billion for our mobile industry, for our sister company." It does not work like that. Oppo, like I said earlier, they're just going to take a time out, take a step back from making these ultra flagship phones. What about computers, right? I mean, this computer I got, this HP computer, what is it, OmniBook Ultra, HP OmniBook Ultra Flip laptop. It's a 1 year old right now. I don't need a new laptop. You don't need a new devices every single year. So I think the manufacturers are going to have to adjust. And I think it's people like me that buy new flagship phones every year will have to adjust. But I think that's obtainable. Like if we have to do that for these companies to survive, I think that's okay. Like I would rather have nothing put out a phone every other year than them not putting out a phone at all. You see what I'm saying? Like I think that would be all right. What do y'all think? That means if I find a European version of the OnePlus 15 under 600, I should take it, but will work only with T-Mobile. If you find a OnePlus 15 under $600, yes, that's a steal. That's a steal. I've been pricing them. Essentially it's right around between $750 to $800, and that's on the low end. I've seen some that are still $900. If you go on Swappa and you go look at the OnePlus 15 and you go over to the prices section and see, in fact, let's pull that up real quick. Now, to answer your other question, European version of the OnePlus 15, I thought they just had a global version and a Chinese version. Now, they say they have a US version, but the US version is just the global version. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know if they just have a European version. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm wrong. But no, they're unlocked for any carrier. You can have I don't know what's in Europe. Vodafone or Bell Canada is in Canada. Duh. No, it'll work It'll work with any carrier. Let's see here. Damn it. Let me pull this up real quick. We'll check. So if you go to swap a OnePlus 15 starting at 711, that's US dollars now. So if you're talking about European version, well, if you're talking dollars, that's what they start at. Now, if you convert that to euros, it's probably, I don't know. But yeah, if you find one under 600, yeah, that's a steal. You can see the recent sales right here. Check this out. 798, 861, 721, 716, 881, 747, 746, 812, 773, 801, 819. So yeah, I would say anything under $700 is a deal, but anything under $600 in the $500 price range, that's a steal. I would buy it. You could even buy it and flip it and sell it and make a $200 profit. But smart thing, especially if you're a smartphone lover or you want to buy a phone to hold on to for the next couple of years and not have to worry about it slowing down or not receiving updates or getting laggy, the OnePlus 15 is going to be good for the next for the life of the device, meaning essentially for the next 5 years until it stops getting updates. It's going to be a badass phone. So yeah, that's a good deal. Looks like I'll be riding it out with my Samsung S25 Ultra and my Pixel 10 Pro XL and my iPhone 17 Pro. I'll wait till next year and then I'll pick up the Motorola Razr Fold. Yeah, I think that's a smart idea. You could probably find a used one for a decent price. Just do what I do every day. It only takes a few minutes every single day. I spend about 5 minutes. I get on Swappa. I get on Facebook Marketplace. I get on OfferUp. I get on Mercari. I get on eBay. I get on Best Buy, and I get on Amazon and try to find deals. Not the new price. I'll go to used phones and see if I can find a OnePlus 15 for $550 or a Motorola Signature for, I don't know, 600. You know what I'm saying? I look for deals, and especially if you're just looking for like one phone, like a Motorola Razr Fold, just copy that. So type in Motorola Razr Fold, long press, copy, and then go to Swappa and search, hit paste, search for it. Go to Facebook Marketplace, go to the search icon, hit paste, search for it. Just see what pops up. It only takes a few minutes. Once you find a good deal, you could jump on it, but don't be in a rush to buy something. Wait until there will be a good deal out there. Maybe a month from now, maybe 3 months from now. Hell, maybe in a year from now, but there will be. At some point, somebody's going to sell a phone. Somebody's going to need to make money real quick. Maybe they're late on a bill. And like, gosh, it's been me before. And like, oh, shit, I got to pay whatever ASAP. Oh my God, crap. Let me just sell this phone real quick for half off, and you sell it like that. There's people out there. Shit, there's crackheads out there trying to sell whatever to get their fix. You know what I'm saying? Those are some of the best deals, quite honestly. I'm not going to lie to you. Where I live, they have wiped down thousands of acres of trees, heading into a dark storage era. That sucks. Especially if you live right next to a data center, the noise, and especially you got to worry about water sources. You also have to worry about frequencies coming from electromagnetic frequencies coming from the data centers. Lots of traffic and now in and out of that area. Lots of construction. Now you have, construction workers. If your neighborhood's not used to having construction, now you got people walking in and around your neighborhood, by your cars, by your home. It's these little things you got to worry about. I think they should have some kind of designated place. You know what they're starting to do? every once in a while, I'll see they're starting to put them in space now. I'm like, oh, no shit. No, there's a lot of room up there, right? And I've also seen Microsoft. Microsoft is starting to put data centers in the ocean where it's cooler temperatures down at the bottom of the ocean. Stuff like that. I don't like data centers like in neighborhoods or in a empty lot behind a big neighborhood, or you know what I'm saying? Like there's too much area out here. Why are they putting them in residential spots? Like really put like come on. Shit, out in West Texas, there's freaking nothing but cotton fields, and down south, nothing but oil fields. Can't you put it out in the middle of nowhere? Why you got to put them in residential neighborhoods? I've never understood that. You own nothing and love it. Nothing should focus on building their OS to be super efficient. That'll run more with less hardware. Um, I think they will. European version CPH 2747 or 2747 EEA. North America version is 2749 if I'm not wrong. Hang on, let me grab mine. I'll find out. Let's see. About device. But yeah, mine's 2749. And this is the unlocked can it focus? Hello. Anyways, it says 2749. I don't think it focused, but that's what I have. US unlocked model. Meaning again, maybe they do have more than one model. Just not 100% sure. So if you look it up and that's what it says, that's what it says. Yeah. So mine's 2749. Yeah, maybe you're right. 2747 is, and is the EEA. That's for Europe, I believe. You're gonna be getting rid of my OnePlus Open. Damn, you still got one of those? Yeah, that was. I got close to buying one of those a couple of years ago and just didn't do it because I'm not too big into foldables. But I found a really good deal on one of those. It's close to end of life for that, right? For updates. Yeah, I don't either. I tell you what, I gotta get out of here. But before we get out of here, let's do a giveaway real quick. So put hashtag gift in the chat. Hashtag gift. Damn, where's my banner? Hashtag gift. So go ahead and put that in the chat and I will set it up here. Let me share my screen. And why did they change this up? Here we go. All right, y'all ready? All right, Brian is the winner of today's giveaway. Congratulations to you, Brian. I know I got your email. I'll get back with you. I'll get with you on the back end here in just a few minutes. I do appreciate the time. And remember, if you did not win, please join us next time. We get our YouTube earnings, I think, on Monday. And I like to give back to the viewers. So that's the earnings I get from each month. Well, I'll just do giveaways and give it back to y'all. So it pays to watch the show. So, oh shit, I just dropped my phone. Congratulations. I'll get with you on the back end. I do appreciate the time. I will try and set something up for tomorrow. I know tomorrow's Father's Day, but I wouldn't want to spend anything else on Father's Day than discussing technology. I'm a nerd. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Please take care. Have an enjoyable but safe Saturday afternoon and or evening, no matter where you're at. And I'll see you back again here tomorrow. Peace.
Yeah. Woo.
I just need my space right now.
Fresh off the G5 jet, I'm on my way to a brand new kit.